We are just 2 days away from the playoff final between Sunderland and Sheffield United, and it is a Benjamin Bloom Football Channel tradition that we do a combined 11 in the run-up to the biggest game in football. So I need you in the comments right now. I need 12 names, 6 from each club. This is a combined 11, not a best 11. I need 11 players on the pitch. And the 12th name is a manager in the dugout. Please help me out. Absolutely deranged, tantrum, mental comments we often get on these 11 videos. Let's try our absolute best. If you don't like the premise and you're a Sheffield United fan who wants to tell me all your players are better than Sunderland's, or a Sunderland fan who wants to tell me all your players are better than Sheffield United, probably don't need to watch, and you definitely don't need to comment. And if you're going to get in any way angry, emotional, overly emotional about a man on the internet making a combined 11, again, take the dog for a walk and we'll see you on another video. Love you lots. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go in pairs, being we're going to go 6 Sheffield United, 6 Sunderland, and I'll pick one from each team as we go through. And I'm going to start with the manager and the goalkeeper. And a lot of my thinking, I have to say, about the managers, is very hard to split Chris Wilder and Regis Lebris this season. A lot of my thinking is that Sheffield United are a parachute team and Sunderland are not. Sheffield United have a better squad. Therefore, I'm going to pick the Sunderland manager so I can go 6 Sheffield United players, 5 Sunderland, which means I can then start off in goal with a Sheffield United player. So it's a bit of a tactical pick there. I've gone for Regis Lebris and Michael Cooper. Look, I'm perfectly happy with either manager. Look, it's the playoff final. We are littered with talent here. But maybe there's an argument that tournament football-wise, we like Lebris. But I have to say, Wilder has gone for it in big games this season and been pretty aggressive with his tactics and often won. But I just think in the semis, Lebris did a great job, and he's done a great job at Sunderland. So I'll go with my strategy, which then allows the 6 Sheffield United players versus 5 Sunderland players. Mike Cooper in goal. Patterson, I think it was Patterson would have been ahead at the start of the season because Cooper obviously wasn't there at Sheffield United, but Cooper's been fantastic. And Patterson maybe a little drop off in the second half of the season from his very high standards. So that is my start there, my manager and my keeper. Let's go for the fullbacks in. You could have done this any which way, couldn't you? It's difficult to get 2 fullbacks in from one team given the 6 and 6 split rule. But I'm going to go Burrows left and Hume right. I think, you could go the other way around. Sirkin, Chowdhury, I don't know, it's fine. Good fullbacks in this. Maybe Sunderland have got the better pair, pound for pound, I think, when you actually factor in both. But we're going split team here, and I'm going one of each. And I think Burrows has been brilliant signing from Peterborough, hasn't he? And then I think Hume is Sunderland's player of the year as well down the right-hand side. So, yeah, maybe Sirkin, unlucky to miss out. But we're doing a combined 11, as I have said. Let's go to my centre-backs. And, shock horror, I will miss out Dan Ballard, who was kind of the hero of the semi-final there with that ridiculous late goal. And I'm going to go for Luke O'Neill and Anel Ahmedhodzic. Look, I can't really not have Ahmedhodzic because I think out of the 2 squads, he's the best centre-back there. And I think he's a bit of a cheat code in the Championship, isn't he? Just brilliant physicality and, defensive quality there. I think he's a Premier League player, and I do love a centre-back that can storm up the pitch every now and then. So I need a right-sider and a left-sider, which kind of rules out Ballard in that respect. And look, I think there needs to be some acknowledgement of Luke O'Neill. He's playing in a team that has finished 4th in the league. He always plays. Yes, he's a bit of a you-know-what house, but we all love those players when they play for our teams, and we hate them when they're against our teams. So we know what the Sheffield United and Sunderland fans are going to think of Mr. O'Neill at the weekend. But as a neutral, I quite love his antics, actually. I think he's got a load of character and a load of personality. So he's going to be one of my centre-backs. My central midfield pairing, if you saw my championship team of the season, is going to be completely obvious. But we're going to get to that in just a second. One more plug. Courtesy of the EFL, I'm going to be at this massive game. And I'm so, so grateful and humbled to be there in partnership with the EFL. So we are promoting here Fantasy EFL playoffs, and you can still get involved. They've split the competition here. It's absolutely free to enter. So there was a round for the semi-final first legs, a round for the semi-final second legs. So it's open once again for you to play the three finals. Select your team over on the website. There is a link down there to follow, and there's also a code where you can join the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel League. Some brilliant prizes up for grabs for next season. Although, dare I say, fans of Sunderland and Sheffield United will be hoping not to claim prizes from the EFL next season, because in the most loving way possible, they're going to hope they're not going to be in the damn thing. But we'll find out about that. Please do get involved. Again, really humbled and proud to be partnered with the EFL on this. And I'd love you to be partnered with me. Just follow the link down there and join the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel League. You've all guessed my obvious central midfield, haven't you? Because I think they were both in my championship team of the season. I think that's a really good pair, isn't it? Look, honourable mentions. Again, it's the playoff final, so loads of good players here that are not going to make their way in. City Peck's been tremendous. Dan Neil has been tremendous, but I just think these two, and as a pairing, they'd be fantastic, wouldn't they? Souza of Sheffield United, another cheat code player who's probably too good for the level, isn't he? Brilliant. As the defensive-minded guy, the 6 in the modern parlance, with Bellingham, the 8. I thought Bellingham would be a 10, but he's kind of moved his way back, and that does happen to players sometimes. The more influential they get, they gravitate to that central midfield sort of area, don't they? And I think that'd be a tremendous pairing there. And I'm sure lots of you will go for those two in the comments with your own 11s. Now, these two as well, I have to get in Gus Harmer and Enzo Lefay. I got a bit of blowback for putting Harmer in the 10 in my championship team of the season, so I will stick him nominally left where he's been for the majority of the season, which gets Enzo Lefay in the team as a number 10. Look, I'm 4-2-3-1 there. I know there's a very high likelihood that it's 4-4-2 from both managers here, as it kind of was for the most part in the semi-finals. And both of these players are going to be farmed out on the left-hand side. I don't think it's a stretch to have Lefay in the 10. We did see him in the semis, I think late on, didn't we? Move across into the 10, and I think he's going to be fantastic there. So kind of an argument that they're possibly going to be both playing left midfield at the weekend, but they are your creative players. They are your match winners, and I've got to get them both in. Really looking forward to seeing both of them, and we hope in what are often cagey games, these playoff finals, that it is the creative players, the likes of Harmer and Lefay, that we're talking about, rather than maybe penalties and defenders and goalkeepers at the end of it. Right, this was the most tricky two I had. I've basically got right-hand side, midfield or front, and striker. And I've got one pick for Sunderland and one pick for Sheffield United. And I've kind of gone with Sam Parkin, who said that he thought Pat Roberts down the right for Sunderland was maybe a little bit out of form. Jess Raksaki I love for Sheffield United, but he's not kind of been picked, has he? And we've seen the likes of Andre Brooks and Ryan Brewster get in ahead of him. Callum O'Hare, I did my research, and he's not really played down the right either. I thought, could I fit Mundle or maybe Mayenda down the right-hand side? But that wouldn't quite be right either. You could move Chowdhury forward, but I don't know. He's more a midfielder, a right-back or a central midfielder. So it's a tricky one. And then you've got the strikers. Big Kiefer, you might need him when you've got Lefay and Harmer, someone to do the physicality side for them. He's going to play full 90, possibly 120 in a playoff final. I don't know. Tyrese Campbell, Wilson, Isidore again. I mentioned Mayenda and Mundle. So my solution has been, I'm going to go for Brewster down the right-hand side, and that means I have to go for a Sunderland player up top. So I'll go for Mayenda. My thinking is, and it was the trickiest part of the team, that Brewster, I think, did a really good job against Bristol City, didn't he, in that first leg? Really following instructions and, sort of shoring up that right-hand side. And look, I've picked Harmer and Lefay, haven't I? Harmer and Lefay, that way around, excuse me. So I do need someone who's just going to follow instructions, do the running, tuck in behind, and then I also need a finisher there, which in theory Brewster is. I know his goal scoring record's not been amazing at Sheffield United, but maybe he can get in the box. Alongside, I went for Mayenda. I don't know, flick of a coin. I would have gone for Isidore, I don't know, January, February time, but I'll go for Mayenda now. Great age, and I think he's just a more in form of the Sunderland players. There you go. There is my combined playoff 11. Get down there in the comments. If you've watched this far and haven't commented already, you're probably in the sensible bunch, but it does remain for me to say, look, the very low value response is, picking holes in my team and mentioning one player and why they're not there and not doing any of the work yourself, which would be the high value response. Take the challenge. Pick your own combined playoff 11. Get involved as well with the Fantasy EFL promo. Still a couple of days. We'll go right up to kickoff in the first game. You can still be entering at Fantasy EFL. And what I will do, I will link up there by the magic of the YouTube back end a couple of our previous season's videos of playoff combined 11, so you can see who's been in the conversation in previous years and kind of my thoughts ahead of the richest, the biggest, the most glorious, wonderful game of English football, the playoff final.